B. Dot here, and you are watching The Griot with Ebony K. Williams. Don't you forget that, K.
Okay, before the break, we were talking about how to fix our finances as we head into 2023. I want to bring back in certified financial planner Joe Wilson, who actually retired when he was only 38 years old. Joe, thank you so much for staying with us. I'm sure a lot of people's ears perked up when I mentioned that you were only 38 when you retired. Talk about the discipline that took. Talk about how your wife played a part in that and how that has given your family just an immeasurable level of freedom.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, you know, it did take a lot of discipline, but probably not in the ways that people will traditionally think. Like, you know, maybe you only use one-ply toilet tissue or you scrape the last bit of toothpaste out the tube. This is really discipline when it comes to making sure that you don't allow for lifestyle creep to creep in. So the more money that we make, oftentimes we think we have to upgrade everything around us. We got to upgrade our vacations, upgrade our home, upgrade our cars. And when you really look and see if it's necessary, it's probably not the case. I mean, for my wife and I stay in a beautiful neighborhood, 3-bedroom, 3-bath townhome. And at the time of us retiring, we only had one kid. So we had an entire loft and bedroom that we never used. So what was the point of us upgrading our lifestyle just because, quote unquote, we could afford it? Instead, we chose freedom. So when you have that freedom kind of in your, horizon, then it makes you make better decisions when it comes to today. So lifestyle creep discipline is one of them. And then not trying to keep up with the Joneses. Stay off social media, whether or not what these people have are real or not is little consequence to you and what you're trying to do, which is secure freedom for your family. Now, last but not least, when it comes to my wife and I, we had a game plan from the start, right? So it was a viral video that I did a while ago called How to Date in Atlanta and Not Go Broke. And it really was based upon our dating history. So it allowed us to have fun, right? When we were courting, we're saving money, but use daily deal sites like Groupon and others to really have fun things that we wanted to do. I mean, we did helicopter rides around the city of Atlanta. We did horseback riding to a lunch that was laid out for us at Water's Edge. We did things like went to a legal bootlegging establishment in Tennessee. I mean, all of these fun things that people think, wow, well, can we have fun leading up to early retirement? The answer is yes, but you have to be creative when it comes to spending money the same way that you're creative with your wardrobe or your hairstyle or just your overall vibe. You have to think through and make sure that you can do both, but do it on a budget.
Indeed. Now, let's talk about what retirement looks like for you. Retirement can mean a lot of different things for different people. It might mean that you don't work or bring in any income at all, but that's not the case for you and your wife. Talk about how you don't go to a job every day, but you still have income coming in.
Yeah, so two ways. First and foremost, you're absolutely right. You have to have you can have an investment foundation. So for us, we have an investment foundation where we can live off of those resources if needed. But quite honestly, that's just been growing for generational wealth at this point, because we also have businesses in the background that pay us whether we're there or not, right? Whether it be the real estate or the restaurants that we own. And we set it up where it's pretty much automated at this point. But this goes back to your earlier question about the level of discipline. Right. We had to be really disciplined with the amount of time that we put towards learning the restaurant industry, learning the real estate industry, to make sure that now we're at a point that we don't spend pretty much, hardly any time dealing with those issues, so we can just travel the world and vacation for a time.
Sounds so lovely. Now, here's a tricky one, Joe. A lot of people are struggling with this dilemma. Do I pay off my debt entirely, or do I go ahead and start the investing in the early retirement fund? There's only but so much money on the table. Do you have to always pay the debt off entirely before you start the retirement plan?
So it depends on the type of debt that you have. So if it's a high interest rate debt like credit cards, you pay that off first. However, if it's like student loans or you have a home loan or things of that nature, or let's say you're paying 4% interest on, but historically the stock market has earned 8% or more, then you take advantage of that arbitrage and put your money into the stock market, because long term that would benefit you far greater than paying off the smaller interest rate debt.
That makes a lot of sense. And when you see your clients, Joe, in terms of mistakes that they've made to try to emulate this early retirement track, what are people doing wrong?
biggest mistake people are making is they're trying to get blood out of a turnip, right? And what I mean by that, they focus in on just cutting. And to your earlier questions, you can only cut down so much. We need to focus more on increasing our income. In a couple of ways in which we can do that. First and foremost, invest in getting a new resume done, because it forces you to think about the 2 to 3 years of contributions that you made to your existing employer. So then you can go and ask them for an increase in pay. Now, if they're not willing to do that, you can take that shiny new resume and put it out into the workplace to see if you can get a job that's going to pay you more. But that doesn't always close that gap. So the other thing that you need to do is look at side businesses that doesn't have a black tax associated with it. Let me give you an example. Real estate will be one of them.
Sure.
No one is going to pay you 40% less in rent because you're a black landlord, right? So focusing on increasing income is more important than just focusing in on cutting your spending.
Still to come, how one organization is helping thousands of Black people without college degrees land good paying jobs. You don't want to miss it.